Hey guys, it's Mason. I hope me being in front of the camera makes you even half as uncomfortable as it makes me. I know a lot of you are probably wondering what this is. Why is the camera perspective this way? Why are we here? What's going on? Why am I still subbed to this guy? These are all really valid questions, some of which I can't answer. You'll have to figure that out on your own. Welcome to episode 1 of what I think I'm going to call Any Questions. That the name felt perfect. You know, for those of you who've been around the channel for a while know that that's something we say all the time, and it just felt perfect for what I want this to be. I know a lot of you are probably wondering, what exactly do you want this to be? What is this? And I don't really know yet. This is something that's brand new to me, something I'm not used to doing. Majority of my content comes from my live stream, as a lot of you guys know, and I don't have anything that's exclusive to YouTube. And I wanted to have something that you could only find here, and that YouTube was its home. And it's going to be messy, and it's going to be all over the place, and it's going to be crazy, especially at first, while I kind of figure out what it is, and while we learn how to treat it and how to approach it and how to edit it and all these good things. But basically what this is going to be, what Any Questions is going to be, is a way for me to kind of open up about not necessarily personal things in my life and about streaming and my choice of career and all this crazy stuff that we get to do every day, but just a way for me to answer questions that I see a lot of, you know, both in the chat and on social media and in the YouTube comments specifically. And I don't know, and like I said, it's going to be awkward at first, but look, I'm just excited to get into it, man. As a lot of you guys know who come by my live streams every day, my favorite thing to do is just chatting. Usually for about an hour, sometimes 2 every morning. I just love hanging out with the chat. I love having a conversation, drinking coffee, and just kind of warming up for the day, warming up for an 8 to 9 to 10 hour stream. And that comes from a love for conversation. You know, before I ever got into streaming and content creation, I fell in love with podcasting, and I wanted to get into that. And I loved how one person or multiple people could go on hour to 2 hour to 3 hour long, not tangents, but just conversations, and just dive into detail. And that was something that you never saw on, you know, regular broadcasting and talk shows and cable, and you never got to see someone really open up in a conversation. That was something I fell in love with, something that really opened my eyes to streaming as well. And it's something that I really do try to base my stream around. I try to interact with chat as much as possible, and when I do, I try to make it meaningful. And recently, with my new obsession with Apex Legends, as a lot of you guys know, it is a game that's harder to interact with the chat while I play. Because of that, I wanted to offer you this. And what this is going to be is either once a week or twice a week, depending on whether or not you guys like it. I'm going to reach out, I'm going to ask for questions, or I'll pick questions on my own that I get asked often, which will probably be the first few episodes, like today's, for example, which is why did I become a content creator. And I'm going to pick these questions and try to dive into it, do my best to explain it. And they're going to be short videos, 5 to 10, maybe 15-minute videos of me and you just having a conversation about why this thing is this, or why that thing is that, or whatever it is that we chose to have as the topic of discussion for that video. And before we jump in, if this is something you guys like, please let me know in the comments. Even if you don't think I read them, trust me, I do. Leave a thumbs up. Ask me a few questions. You know, if you have any other topics of conversation or questions that you have for me that you haven't gotten to ask, or that you haven't necessarily wanted to ask in the chat, you wanted, you know, maybe you didn't just want to bring that much attention to it or anything like that. As you can already tell, it's going to be very minimal editing. There's going to be a lot of me going, and that's just what I wanted this to be. I wanted this to be like if you were having a conversation with me. And trust me, when you have conversations with me, I'm awkward and uncomfortable all the time. Which is a great segue into today's topic. Why did I become a content creator? Look, that is one that we could talk about for hours, legitimately. Sorry about the noise. Also, I didn't turn alerts off because I'm an idiot. But look, that is one that we could talk about forever. What this crazy adventure into content creation stemmed from was, as I said before, a love for podcasting, a love for conversation, which is my favorite thing about Twitch and my favorite thing about streaming every single day, is speaking to you guys and asking you questions and getting to know more about my community and trying to figure out why it is that you guys show up and support me every day. So quick story. This all came from a buddy of mine named Ian. I was over at his place and he was trying to teach me how to play Magic the Gathering, which, by the way, I still have no effing idea how to play. Anyway, for background noise, he put on a podcast, and I had never seen or heard a podcast before. And I spent more time asking him questions about the podcast and what it was than I did trying to figure out which Blue Eyes White Dragon beats a Charizard. That was on purpose. So long story short, he explained to me that these guys, the channel I won't name, but these guys would just get together. They would pick a topic and they would have a conversation for an hour or 2 hours about this particular topic. And at the time, I was even more socially awkward than I am now, believe it or not. And conversation was never something that appealed to me. My entire life, I was a quiet guy, quiet kid growing up, and didn't change much as I got older. In school, just kind of skated by, kind of blended in, kind of stayed camouflage, had a tight group of friends, was just a quiet guy. But maybe that's a topic for another day. But me making a living with conversation and with my voice and sometimes my face never would have ever, I never would have believed you if you had told me this would become my career. Did I mention this thing was going to be all over the place? I'm sorry. I digress. So these guys got into this podcast and I loved it. I became infatuated with the idea and I wanted to pursue it. This was years before I ever attempted streaming. I didn't know what I was doing or what I wanted it to be. And I ended up buying my first microphone, an Audio-Technica AT2020 USB Plus, before I even had a PC. I didn't have anything. I didn't even have any means in which to use this microphone. I just bought it, which is hilarious because I ended up using the microphone for years before upgrading to this big boy right here. And yeah, I knew I wanted to try it. I didn't know if I had anything worth listening to, and I still don't know if I have anything to say worth listening to, but I knew there was something there. Anyway, so the seed was planted. Years go by, nothing happens. I discover Shroud. I discover Dr. Disrespect. I discover Tim the Tatman. I discover Summit 1G. I don't know who came first and who came last. All I know is, as you know, once you watch one of them, YouTube recommends you all of them. And it continued to pique my curiosity all the time. Obviously, these people like Dr. Disrespect is a character larger than life, but in Shroud is a gaming god. But I knew I was like, what if I could find a way in which I could, because I love video games. I've always loved gaming, and maybe that's another topic for another day, but I've always loved gaming. Always. It's always been there. It's been the one constant was gaming, which I know is the case for a lot of you guys as well. And I knew, like I mentioned before, I had this love for conversation, and this Twitch thing appeared to be a crossbreed of the two, which, as you know, it is. Long story short, I end up trying this thing, like I'm talking 20 minutes every couple of weeks on my PS4 with no mic. It was awkward. It was crazy, but it gave me a feeling. If you've never streamed on console, on PS4, Xbox, or whatever, there's this, well, I guess now it would be PS5, Xbox, whatever. I don't know. I don't play on console, PC Master Race. But at the time, you would go live on the Twitch application on the console, and it would give you this terrible UI that would pop up with your chat and your viewer number. And I remember at the time I was playing Uncharted 2? Some Uncharted game on PS4. I don't remember which one it was, but I was streaming it and watching the viewer number go from 0 to 1 to 2, back to 0 to 1 to 2, back to 0. I didn't have alerts. I didn't have follower notifications. No one ever even said anything in chat, but the feeling was undescribable. And I knew I needed to push into that, whatever that was, because it was the only time I'd ever felt that way about anything, you know, like a hobby or a pursuit of mine. I never really had a pursuit. I never had challenges that I tried to go after, because at the time, before I got into streaming, I couldn't find myself obsessed with something like that. And you should be obsessed with something. You should have a challenge that you pursue, or just a hobby, something that sparks your mind and makes you go after something. And that became mine. And with constant research and just, I was watching streams, I was watching videos about streams, I was watching videos about how to make videos, about streaming, and it was just crazy, and found a lot of content creators who you guys are probably familiar with, guys like EposVox on YouTube and Harris Heller. Did I pronounce EposVox wrong? I might have. I don't know. But guys like Harris Heller and the Alpha Gaming YouTube channel helped me out a lot. And at one point, a friend of mine named Danny, shouts out Danny, him and I were talking. Him and I used to work together, and we were talking, and he had mentioned that he was going to upgrade his PC. He was going to get a whole new rig, and he was going to toss his out. It was old. Everything was outdated. I don't remember the specs exactly, but everything was outdated. And I told him that I would take it off his hands, but I didn't have the money to pay him for it, but I didn't want to take it for free. So him and I came to the agreement that if it was going to cost me more than, I think it was like $400 it wouldn't even work. That was why he was going to replace it, because it just wouldn't even boot up, and he didn't want to look into, he just figured it was a good excuse to upgrade. And he told me if it cost more than $300 or $400 to repair it, that I could keep it. Long story short, I ended up spending $1,200 and completely replacing everything with a credit card from Newegg. It wasn't money that I had at the time, and became obsessed with the ideas of upgrading my PC. And I learned about parts within the PC and how to implement it into streaming, and what kind of rig I would need for both streaming and gaming, and what games. And a lot of you guys know the rabbit hole I'm referring to, and we could talk about it for hours, and we won't, but it's a lot. And the obsession began, and we began attempting to stream on this crazy platform that you know me from, called Twitch. And we started out streaming games like PUBG, and that was kind of when PUBG had just came out. PUBG was actually the game that had really inspired me to dive in. Like I mentioned, I discovered guys like Dr. Disrespect and Shroud and these guys from playing PUBG, and that game, the idea of a battle royale, and that's a topic for another day, really sparked my interest and got me into pursuing streaming and PC gaming. And with that was many attempts and a lot of trial and error, like we all have. I'm sure a lot of you guys viewing this now have also attempted streaming or considered attempting to stream. And trial and error is what you're going to experience. It's still what I experience to this day, man. I mean, what you're seeing right now is trial and error. But I digress. The topic of the day is, why did I become a content creator? And long story short, I was very unhappy prior to becoming a full-time content creator. What I was doing for a living was not a bad job. I was very fortunate to be in the position I was in and have the job I had. I made enough money to survive. I worked with great people. I wasn't doing anything miserable. I was no longer in customer service or food service. I was doing a very private I was doing a very private work in which I could work at my own pace and work from home, and it was a lot of things that a lot of people don't even get to do. But I knew it wasn't for me, and there was never the feeling of me accomplishing anything. I never felt as though I was reaching any potential that I didn't even think I had, and I knew I needed more. And long story short, as a lot of you guys know me, I'm sure, from the Sea of Thieves community, we found this beautiful gem of a game in Sea of Thieves after years of streaming to nobody. I think we were capped out at about 10 to 12 average viewers. We had made affiliate before we found Sea of Thieves, and the rest is history, which could be another topic if you guys want to see more. Anyway, we fall in love with Sea of Thieves. We fall in love with streaming Sea of Thieves. We fell in love with the community. And because of your guys' support, and on both YouTube and on Twitch, just to be clear, I would have nothing even close to what I have on Twitch now without the power of the YouTube community. YouTube is everything. For any aspiring content creators on Twitch, YouTube is not optional. If you really want to take it seriously, YouTube is a must. But that is the topic for another day, which is maybe what we should call the podcast at this point, because we're at about 15 minutes, and I promised you guys we wouldn't push it much further than that. Why did I become a content creator? Because I wasn't satisfied doing anything else. Nothing else felt right. And I knew that if I didn't find a new pursuit, things were going to continue not to go well for me. I never felt fulfilled. I never felt like I was completing anything or pursuing a challenge in my life. And I had, like I said, I have a great life. I have an amazing family. I'm not complaining. A lot of you can probably sympathize with the feeling of that we want something more, and that's not a bad thing. Just figure out what it is. This has been episode 1 of what I'm going to refer to as Any Questions. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up. Please leave a comment and let me know that you enjoyed it, or if you enjoyed it, or if you didn't enjoy it. If you didn't like it, let me know. Just be nice, please, because you know I'm emotional. And also, if you want to hear more, ask me questions in the comments that you think, and I'm talking real questions, not Mason, how short are you? All right, because I get that all day on stream. But ask me a question or give me a prompt to talk about if you'd like to hear me talk more. This is something that I want to continue to do, not just for you guys, but for me, because I want to improve in the thing that I love, which is conversation and not having a chat to go off of. Like, this is weird, even just having the camera in front of me, but not having a chat to go off of really challenges me. And it's a new challenge that's, it's nerve-wracking and it's scary, but it's something I am up to the task of if you guys would enjoy it. And that's that, man. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if I answered or didn't answer any of your questions, and maybe we can add more to it. I just want to say again, thank you guys for all you do, both on Twitch and on YouTube, and for allowing me to do this ridiculous thing that I do every day for a living, and making it a reality, man. It was unbelievable to me before, and it still is. And who knows how long it'll last. But while we have it, let's treat it right, and let's keep it going, man. Thank you guys for all you do. Much love. Have a great evening, morning, or afternoon, whatever time it is for you. And I'll see you soon. Peace.